Welcome back to my channel for a short Leica fun episode. And what I'm going to show you in this video is something I could watch over and over again because it's so satisfying. And I want to show you how my Leica IIIf, which is a very special film roll camera, in particular this one here, we also look up via serial number in the Leica pocketbook when this camera was built, how it is operated and actually the shutter released by a mechanical self-timer, which is called the Leica Apdoo. And after all those decades, this still works like a Swiss clockwork. Let's kick this off. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so, subscribe, hit the notification bell and support my work. Many thanks for that. Okay. Leica IIIf. What a beautiful little camera, right? And I will not provide here an introduction to that camera because then the video will be too long and I want to come to the fun part very quickly, namely operating the shutter release here with this mechanical self-timer, the Leica Apdoo. But these lenses here, they have to be pulled out and you have here an aperture ring. It also clicks. And you have all kinds of mechanical elements on these type of cameras, which is totally fun to play with. And the way you cock the shutter is you wind here. And then you can release the shutter. Listen to the sound. Let's have a quick look at this lens here. And this lens is focusing currently at infinity if you look here. And it will stay in infinity mode. You cannot move currently the focus ring unless you press here and then you can focus. And now you can also focus at closer distances. And if you want to go back to infinity focus, you let it just snap in. And the mechanics are beautiful. This is super soft to focus, very comfortable. After all those decades, we look into the build year in a moment. And the mechanics is just fantastic. And think about how pragmatic this was. This is the way you shoot the lens here. And now it's coming out. And if you don't shoot, you just get it in again. And in this way, have a very compact design of the camera. Just absolutely ingenious. Now, let me remove the lens for a moment because I want to show you a few other things. And let's screw this off here. And let's have a look inside again. I will wind this, cock the shutter. And we'll also get some light inside so you see better what's happening. Look at that. Boom, closed. Very nice, very, very nice. Now, let me quickly show you the bulb mode because this is also cool. Here you have a shutter speed dial and the shutter speed dial should only be operated after winding the shutter so that the shutter is cocked. So let's wind it again. And now you can pull this up here and can actually adjust it to, let's say, bulb mode. Let's have a look into bulb mode. Bulb mode means that as long as I press down the shutter release button, the curtain will stay open. Let me get some light again to show you. I hold, press the shutter release button. If I release my pointing finger, the curtain will close. Have a look. Boom. And it still gave me that 1 second exposure I dialed in here at the low speed shutter dial. There's a low speed shutter dial and there is a normal shutter dial. But now I'm in bulb mode. Let's wind it again so that the shutter is cocked. And let's go here to the red 25-1. And the red 25-1 is an interesting one because that means everything that's slower than 25 seconds, I can dial in here. And here you see I can rotate this now to 1/2 of a second, 1/5 of a second, 1/25 seconds. Then it actually clicks in because that is kind of the marker also here on the red 25. And now I can again fire and have 1/25 seconds in terms of exposure time. So this is very, very nice. Let's do one more here. Let's release this again to go to 1 second exposure here. Let's wind it. And then let's have a look. Now you get a 1 second exposure and you get this beautiful sound with it. Have a look. Boom, curtain closed. Very, very nice. All right. So there is not much more to say. Well, there would actually be a lot to say, in particular about this camera. Have a look here. What's engraved here? It says Leitz Eigentum. That means this camera was dedicated being property of the Leitz manufacturer. And this was not supposed to be sold to clients, to end clients in the market. It's Leitz property. So it was a camera that was supposed to stay in the manufacture all its life. And I nevertheless have it here. I'm very proud to have it. And if we look into the build year of this camera here, we actually have here some information in the Leica pocketbook. And this particular camera here was produced 1952 to 1953. And they actually built a lot of these Leica IIIf cameras. If we read here, a production run of about 184,000 cameras. That's actually a lot, right? And what I also wanted to show you quickly is if we remove, and then we go to the self-timer, the mechanical one, which I love so much. Let's remove the base plate. And if you look here, you see basically a drawing of the film, and that looks differently than it looks today. Let me show you a typical 35mm film. That's this one here. And you see here, very quickly after, let's say, 3 centimeter, this reaches the full 35mm width of the film. That's a 35mm film. Bear this in mind and have a look again at this graphic here. And you see this is much, much, much longer before the width reaches the full 35mm. And that means if you use in this camera today these type of films, which is the normal 35mm film for, let's say, a Leica M6, you need to use a blueprint here in order to cut the film to get the shape and this long tail, as you can see it here in the camera at the bottom of the camera. And that's all a little more work than working with an M6 camera, but it's also a lot of fun. Let's now come to the fun part. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a mechanical self-timer. Look at this beauty. E.Leitz Wetzlar, Germany. It's small, it's lightweight, it comes in a fancy, many decades old pouch, and it fits on the Leica IIIf. So let me show you how this works. First of all, we have to remove this part here, which is sitting around the shutter release button. See this here? I'll show you in a second. This is it. Don't lose it. And then the Leica Apdoo gets actually screwed onto the camera so that it fully covers the shutter release button. You can do this first here at the black part and then go for this part here, the chrome finish one, because then you can really get it firmly screwed onto the camera body. And this one here can be rotated because you want to have convenient access to this wheel here, which is used to wind now the self-timer. So let's get this done. First of all, let's wind the camera. And in this way, let's cock the shutter. Then we wind here. And then I let the music play. Now I pull this up here, listen to the sound. You heard the shutter and the image is taken. And how did people use this back then? In, let's say, the 1950s? Well, for instance, if they wanted to arrange a family group photo and the photographer also wanted to be on that image, this tiny little Apdoo, this mechanical self-timer, gave the photographer enough time to join the group and arrange everyone so that they all look nicely and simultaneously into the lens. How nice is that, right? Let's play this once more and then I will conclude the video. We wind the shutter. And then I wind the Apdoo. And now we pull this up here and then we listen to the sound. One second exposure works like a Swiss clockwork, works like a charm after more than 70 years. Beautiful. And then, of course, when the family group photo is taken, where the photographer could join, thanks to this beautiful mechanical self-timer here, then you can unscrew it, of course, can get it off the camera body again. Very simple. As I said, the mechanics still works like a Swiss clockwork. You put it aside, you find this tiny little ceiling here, which you can screw on. And then the camera is ready for being shot manually without a self-timer. Of course, also for long exposures, this was very helpful, right? I mean, handheld with 50mm focal length. You remember, f equals 5 centimeter. 1 over, let's say, 100 seconds probably is the more strict rule of thumb. And if you want to get for longer exposures, you use the Apdoo, the mechanical self-timer. Even on a camera that is older than 70 years and everything still works as it worked back then. Then you can get your Apdoo and find the leather pouch. You store it conveniently, put it in your backpack for the next time remote release shooting. And that's what I wanted to show, and hope you enjoy these type of things in the same way as I enjoy them. If you like this video, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel. There's always more to come. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy. And of course, peace out.